Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. You know I truly appreciate you coming in and checking it out. So what are we going to do today? Today, we're going to talk about banks. And we're going to talk about credit unions, and then we're also going to talk about the Chexsystem. So a lot of people are not banked at all. The unbanked people that are out there. Some of you can't get a credit card, or not a credit card, but a banking account, checking account, or savings account simply because you're in the Chexsystem. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today as well. So we're going to start off with the banks and the credit unions and what's best for you, and how do they compare and contrast and all those things. And then we'll end the show with about Chexsystems and give you a little bit of information about that, as well as in between, of course, we've got the question of the day today. So the question of the day, and you can always submit one as well. You can email me at 800@creditscoreman.com. That's 800 at creditscoreman.com, so you can submit your question as well. So once again, thanks for coming in, excuse me, and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show today. Let me give a couple of shout outs right quick. I gotta give a shout out to Lizzie Preddy. Happy birthday to you. She celebrated her birthday, a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So happy birthday to you. And since I'm on that, happy anniversary as well to Delta Sigma Theta, the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta, whose anniversary is the 13th of this month. So, whose Founders Day is the 13th of this month. So, happy birthday and happy anniversary to the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta as well. I got to give a shout out to Twan Harris. She celebrates her birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday to you, Twan. And then I got to give a shout out to Chris Smith as well, one of my frat brothers who celebrates their birthday. So happy birthday to you, Chris. So today's show, I've told you guys before that, of course you can send your questions in. I'll answer them directly to you. You might make the show and whatnot. But I also have asked in the past if you can send in show topics, something you want me to talk about on the air that you think might be beneficial for the masses. And so this show, you can thank Curtis from Los Angeles, California. He sent in the question and suggested that we do a show all about banks versus credit unions and whatnot. I know from our short conversation over email from Curtis that he prefers credit unions. So we'll see today if you prefer a credit union over a bank or what. So let's jump up into the topic and see what's best for you, this credit union or the bank. So first of all, like I say, you need a credit card to help aid your credit score. You need a bank account. So prior to Ultra FICO, which is coming, if you haven't heard about it, go back and listen to my show about Ultra FICO. Prior to Ultra FICO, you didn't need a bank account for credit purposes. Not specifically, but you do need one. You need a bank account. So not having a bank account actually costs you money in most cases. Now, how can I say that? How can I say that it costs you money by not having a bank account? When you get paid, you get a check. Most of us do. You get a check. Someone has to cash your check for you. So companies out there, they will cash your check for you, even if you don't have an account with them or any kind of business relationship with them. You can cash your check at certain places. So companies charge, though. They charge you to go ahead and cash that check for you, and they charge you more than a bank account would cost you on a monthly basis. So then you're going into wherever you go to. Let's do this. So companies that do this, whether it's Walmart, a currency exchange, the local liquor store or convenience store, they often charge also depending on how much the check is for. So if your check is for $800, you get charged one amount. If your check is for $1,800, you get charged a greater amount. So they charge you those things. And believe me, if you do this, then it's going to cost you more than it would if you had a banking account at a bank or even a credit union. So do yourself a favor. On this. Add up how many times you go to cash a check, because some people get paid weekly, some people get paid bi-weekly, some people get paid only once a month. Add up how many times you go and cash a check at your favorite place, wherever that is, whether it's the liquor store, convenience store, whatever it is, and how much they charge you each time. Look and see how much they charge you each time. Basically, you're just giving up that money. And a checking account can be found for free. You can get a checking account for free if you meet certain criteria. You can always get a checking account for free. Now, some of that criteria may be that they make you have a direct deposit. So you might have to get direct deposits for you can have a free bank account, and or you might have to hold a certain balance in that account for it to be free for you as well, which wouldn't be a bad thing necessarily for you, especially when it comes to Ultra FICO and possibly getting that 40-point bump just for having, say, a minimum of $400 left in your account. If your bank says, hey, you need to leave 400 or 500 bucks in here at every time, then you know that that account is going to be good for you with Ultra FICO, and you can have your account for free. And then even some of the other banks might even throw in there that you need to use your debit card a certain number of times a month for your account to be free. Now, what I've seen in my research, and when I had an old account I had with a different bank, they would give me a free account. I didn't have to pay anything at all if I use my debit card more than 10 times a month. So 10 times a month is nothing. I can use my debit card 4 or 5 times a day sometimes. So that was nothing. I can get that done easily, especially if I'm going to get a free account. I can definitely do that. So those are some of the things that you need to look for. And I'm telling you, you need a bank account. But even if it's not free, I'm talking about getting it for free, because I don't like paying for things that you don't necessarily have to pay for. That's why I tell people to sign up with Credit Karma or Credit Sesame or one of those free places first, because I don't believe in paying for things that you can get down the street for free. So even if your account isn't free for whatever reason, a bank account shouldn't cost you more than $15, $20 a month. So when I said, add up how many times you go to the currency exchange to get your check cashed and how much do they charge you each time that you go, know that a checking account typically shouldn't cost you any more than $15, $20 a month. $20 a month actually might be high. I think $15 a month is high, but there are banks out there, depending on where you are in the country, all of those kinds of things, what region you're in, what kind of banks they have, the volume of banks, if they have competition, that number might be lower or higher if there's no competition for that bank, but it shouldn't cost you any more than $15, $20 a month. So there's no doubt at all that amount is lower than what it's going to cost you if you go, to any of the aforementioned kinds of places to get your check cashed. So start looking for a bank account. You don't even have to drive around anymore. Everything's on the internet. All you got to do is every bank that you've passed on the way home or in between work and home, you've seen them a bunch of times. And if you don't have a bank account, just go to their websites and look around, see how much they charge you. Some of these places you can actually start your bank account online. You don't even have to walk into the branch itself. So you go ahead and you start doing some of those things. So now that Ultra FICO is upon us, like I said, having a checking account can really help you increase your credit score up to 40 points potentially. So go get you a bank account somewhere. They're going to be looking back 90 days with Ultra FICO to see, how well you've done with your account. Go get you a bank account. It's going to help you boost your credit score. If you're one of those people that are like, you're looking to, say, buy a home or maybe even buy a car or something of that nature in the next few months, and you don't have a bank account, you're going to need one anyway, especially if you're going to buy a home. You're going to need a bank account because you're going to need to show the mortgage company that whatever your down payment is, you have that money in the bank. You have that money in the bank somewhere. You can't tell them that I have $10,000 stuck in a safe in my wall in my house. They're not going to believe that. They're not going to want you to bring that $10,000 to them in cash in a duffel bag. So you're going to need an account to show that this money is being held there somewhere. And the sooner you do that, the better. Absolutely, the sooner you do that, the better. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but if the bank who typically looks at 2 to 3 months worth of your statements, if they see a cash deposit coming to your account, they're going to want to know all kinds of questions about where did that money come from, and where has it been, and all that kind of stuff. They're not necessarily thinking that you're doing anything illegal, but what they're looking out for is the fact that, say you borrowed that money, whether you borrowed that money from a company or if you borrowed it from your rich uncle or your parents or whoever. That's what they're looking for, because they want to know if you got to pay that money back, because it's going to impact your debt to income ratio if you got to pay that money back. So that's what they're looking for. So you make sure, if you're going to be buying a home anytime soon, next 6 months, next 9 months, that you start that bank account now. And if you already got a bank account and you plan on buying a home, it's important that you start building that money that you're going to put down in the account now, and leave it alone. Let that money sit there so they know. So they know that it's been there and it's always been there. All right. So today we're going to explore some pros and some cons of using a bank versus a credit union as well. So how the bank works. What's a bank? Bank is any of those places that you see sitting on the corner for the most part, right? You see them all. You see them Chase, and Citi has banks as well, Citibank and Bank of America and Regions, and you pick a place. So banks are for profit. So they're for profit. Their whole identity is around making money. So you deposit money in there. They may use that money to lend to someone else. They borrow money themselves from the Fed. They borrow money. If they have to borrow money at 1%, guaranteed they're going to start at, say, like 2.5% to 3%, if not higher, for you to borrow money from them, the bank themselves. So that's how they make their money. They also make their money off of fees. So you've got all your fees, whether it's paying for your bank account, paying for your savings account, or if you are you're bouncing checks. That fee, $35 or whatever it is for each check that you bounce. If you're going to overdraft, whatever they charge you for that, for doing an overdraft. So those are the things that they make money off of. And of course, when they loan you money for a car or personal loan or even a mortgage, they make money. So they're for profit. That's what they're supposed to do, right? So they're trying to make the most profit that they can, because that's what a corporation does. The fees are typically higher because of this, for-profit status. They're typically higher than a credit union. For instance, they're bigger compared to credit unions. So I talked about just a second ago about all those banks that you see between work and home. They are bigger. They have more branches all over the place, typically, than your credit union would. They have more financial options. So they may have more options than your credit union. They may be able to do some things your credit union can't. A bank may be able to do an 80-20 mortgage. A bank will probably most likely be able to close for veterans. They might be able to offer veterans mortgages. You may be able to go in there to get a student loan. So those kinds of things banks offer most of the time over your typical credit union. So they have more financing options. More ATMs. Yes, they have more ATMs. If you're a big ATM user, first, let me say this. If you're a big ATM user and you bank with one bank, but you will stop at any old Joe Blow ATM. I mean, you're in a gas station using that ATM. You're at the casino, you use that ATM. Wherever you are, stop doing that. Go back, take a look at your bank ledger and see how much money you waste. You waste going to foreign, that's what they call them, if it's not from your bank, going to foreign ATMs. I think it's about, I know for my bank, if I go to a foreign ATM, because of the kind of account I have, I don't have to pay for going to them if I don't go to them more than, I think, 4 or 5 times a month. But that fee is $2.50 to me from my bank if I go to a foreign ATM. Not counting if the bank that I go to and I'm not a member of, I don't have an account with that particular bank, they're going to charge me $3. So for me to get $20 out, for example, for me to get $20 out, it'll cost me $3 from that particular bank and could potentially cost me $2.50 from my bank. So I pay $5.50 for me to get $20 out.